My next protocol is to get this guy off, which I've got to do a little bit carefully because I don't want to cause extra damage, and I suspect that there's some epoxy on there, which is very suboptimal. So off camera, I've put in some CA glue here. The reason I didn't, film it was because I had to really sort of concentrate and sort of hold the things together by hand, which is why I use thin CA glue. Also, it gets in everywhere. And these bits are now held together really nicely. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of cleanup on this one, but they've come together quite nicely. So the next thing I'm going to do is get this veneer here and just glue it into here, because we've lost some thickness, and actually there was thickness lost before me, and I'm going to epoxy it in. The reason I'm going to do that is because there's already epoxy here, there's now CA glue there, and it's also plywood, so there was glue there anyway. So realistically, if I use Titebond or fish glue or hide glue or whatever, they probably won't stick as well as we need to, or we need them to, and we need them to stick really well. So let's use the 30-minute Z epoxy. The other benefit of the Z epoxy here is that actually I think there's going to be one or two little voids to fill, like round here. I honestly have no idea how they repaired that before or what they did to repair it, but it obviously wasn't sufficient. It didn't hold the side together. They've thinned it out, they've shagged the kerf lining. So I'm gonna butt this in here, and I think the first thing we do is let's clamp that in. And I had a bit of a dry run at this just to work out the technique, and also to make sure that I could clamp it in such a way that held the sides together straight. So the next point we want to glue at is exactly where the crack is. Just there. If there's one thing I've learned doing all of this stuff, and I've still got lots to learn, learning every day by making very annoying mistakes, but one thing I have learned is always keep paper towel and Q-tips to hand. That's now had about 12 hours to set. I'm really happy with it. It's very sturdy now, which is awesome. Easily as sturdy as the sort of the factory size. But what I'm also really happy about is how flat it is. It dips in a little bit there, but that actually is not where any of the crack was. But yeah, it's pretty good. Certainly compared to how it was, it's pretty good. But what I'll also do is I'm going to put in some little side braces, which will actually sort of further straighten that. The main thing was that this is all held together nicely. I do have a little bit of scraping to do because there's some CA glue that's just sitting slightly proud. It's a bit obvious that there's been a repair there. So yeah, I'm just going to put in like a little sort of side brace, like cleat thing here, maybe sort of right over where the repair was, just to give it that extra bit of strength. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to create some purfling here. There's a little bit that's fallen out here, so I'll probably just stick that back on. And then we'll be in a really good position. After that, we just need to sort of carve out this stuff, and we're basically good to start looking at the braces, which is exciting. there's like a little ledge that I've got caused by, or created by the veneer that I put in, and I want this to sit in that. We want to be really careful not to hit this tail block. So the last thing on this side repair then is just I'm going to get this little joint here, little sort of a brace, I guess, a cleat. You know, but the important thing is that the grain is running that way, and this grain is running this way, so it just reinforces that. But I'm also hoping what it will do is actually hold this side a bit more sort of square than it currently is. So that's now glued in there. We've got the cleat on the other side. I don't think it's going to hold perfectly flat. I think there'll be a little ridge there, but I can't imagine anyone is going to take a straight edge to a 70-year-old guitar and be too critical with it. So while that little brace there is drying, what we'll do is we'll tackle these guys. That's feeling really good. So I've roughed out the braces, they're about 1/2 inch thick, and just look at how much flex there is in that brace. That's insane. And this one was the bass side. So let's write bass on here. In fact, let's write it on the bottom, which is actually the top. And what I'm going to do is just trace along that, holding this nice and steady. And we'll rough cut to that line. You know, it just gives us a starting point. Treble. We're looking pretty good now. I have fitted both of these braces. That's just sort of like rough fit. I'll do some little sanding, I would imagine, just to get the fit really good. But you can see that generally it's looking pretty good. I've finished on this brace now, that fits really nicely, and we'll just have to sort of like high glue and clamp that down. This one I'm still working on. I've just put in some more marks here, kind of to help me, kind of to help it easier for you to see what's going on. But basically what we do is we put the brace in place the right way around, ideally. I've put in these little blocks here, just super glued them to the tape to sort of hold them in place. And what we're doing is just, we've got some 80 grit sandpaper. We are just literally doing this here. So you see that we've still got loads of lines here, so that's not actually being hit as much as we need it to be. See, that's a bit better. Still a bit on the end, but one thing that is worth noting about the end is we make them quite thin, and we're going to sort of clamp it down anyway, so it will actually be pliable and meldable to the surface. We'll try and get a little bit more, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm just using a gardening glove so that I actually retain some fingerprints, especially given that Max now use fingerprint technology to actually identify you. It's a bit annoying because you come in from work and can't log into your computer. I think that is pretty good. So I've spent approximately forever and a day sanding these braces so that they conform to the contours of the body. You do have to press them down ever so slightly, but I think that fit is good enough. Just sort of show you there. And honestly, I don't think I'll get any better than that. That being said, whatever we do, I still think that's going to be structurally significantly stronger than when the braces were actually curved. But yeah, look, that fitment I think is pretty good. Alright, so I've done a dry fit with this. It's looking pretty good. Really loving this little sort of I don't know what you call it, spool clamp bar, let's say. They're not really spool clamps, I guess if they've only got one end, but got some nice hot high glue here. We'll just slap that on here. Okay, and do the same on this brace. It's good there. So we'll just clamp down either end, which will help us just secure these in their appropriate positions. Alright, so we've got this brace in, we just need to get this guy in now. Slot him in here. That's looking pretty good, and then we'll just wipe off the excess. Let's get some rag, hot water, wipe the excess glue. Cool, so that hot high glue is now set. And we're in a really good position with these braces. You know, just referencing the ones that we sort of took out, this was that one there. Quite thin on this end here, so we can probably lose a bit of material there. Likewise, it's, you know, very thin there, so we can probably lose a tiny bit of material there. You know, all of this being said, it's not like the bracing that was originally there was anything to set standards by, but I guess we can make it as original as possible. So just sort of gently pare this down. That one is actually not too bad, but we'll just take a little bit off this. I think that'll do. All right, so now that we've done that, we'll just get our little violin plane and just take these corners off here. I had a bit of a sort of feel of the flex on the top before doing all of this, and it's very stiff now. You know, it's the first time I've, of course, ever felt it properly braced, but it is really stiff, possibly too stiff. It's still a little bit soft, stiff on the base side. No, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop there. So the braces are now in and carved. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I did have this sort of moment of panic that I'd sort of cut them too short because I was basing them off these guys, but actually looking back at pictures, these braces definitely ended just at this point of the rim here. Some other pictures I've seen online have them kind of finishing a bit sort of later, like, you know, right at the rim, but you know, if you put the braces side by side, you can see that that's essentially where they landed. But even still, you know, the key area that we want to support is obviously right here where the bridge goes, and the braces that we replaced were curved, so you'd have to do a lot to these braces to make them worse than what was originally in there, and those braces have lasted 70 years, so I think we're okay. So really, we're getting very close to the pointy end of this one here, which is really exciting. One job on the side I do need to do is just around here, I put in some reinforcement for the jack socket in case it gets sort of kicked. It's just a preventative measure. We'll just give it a little bit more strength. I'll probably just tidy that up, and we have to obviously drill the hole as well. So how about we do that now? So this should be a 3/8 inch hole, which is pretty consistent with what we see here. What I'm going to do is, so that I don't kind of make a hack of this, it's actually slightly full of epoxy, so I don't trust the drill to go centrally in there. So I'm just going to use an awl to sort of like mark the center of it, and that will guide my drill, and we'll go backwards so we don't get a tear out, and we'll be on 1 speed. beautiful, no tear out there, excellent. One other job that I want to get done is I want to have a look at where that bridge normally sits, which is, you can actually see a faint line here, which is where the bridge has been sitting for however long. Now, this is definitely a reproduction bridge that came with this guitar, so it's not the original, but it is really nice quality. It looks like it's ebony. So treble end, bass end. So if we work on the basis that it sits there, you can see daylight under there, which is not good. So basically all the pressure is going to be on these ends here, which is not really what we want. So let's sand that down so that it fits the top perfectly. And then I think it'll have a lot better contact on there, spread the load a lot more evenly across the top, and that should improve the sound of the guitar as well. This is going to be a little bit of a scary cut, but basically what we've got to do is just make that pickup route a little bit deeper, because we want to give ourselves a little bit of adjustment for the pickup. So I'd like it to sit down in the hole a little bit. So let's say that's like that. Yeah, I think that's okay. And we've still got some material there, and what's going to happen is this guy is going to sit on top of that and actually act as like an external brace anyway, which is going to be perfect. Cool, cool, cool.